I want to give some context to this moment and an expression of why we're here, why I'm here, and why I moved forward just moments ago with an executive order advancing a moratorium on the death penalty in California. This has been a 40-year journey for me. This is a journey that began with an introduction of an elderly man named Pete Pianesi. I was about 10 or 11 years old, and my grandfather introduced me to Pete. My grandfather had made it a life pursuit to address the injustice of Pete's arrest and prosecution for a crime he did not commit. Pete later became known as the bum rap kid. He was set up by the mob, set up to be executed, save for one individual on a jury that held out just on moral grounds, was absolutely convinced in Pete's guilt, sentenced Pete to 2 life sentences, but did not believe in the death penalty. Pete Pianesi would not have survived had it not been for that individual. That pursuit of my grandfather led to these halls here at the Capitol and to his relationship and friendship with then Governor Pat Brown. Pat Brown was convinced by the evidence that was provided to provide Pete a rehabilitative pardon. He was paroled from Folsom Prison, but he didn't get the full pardon. My father took that cause up years later as a member of the California Court of Appeals. He went in front of the prison board. He then appealed to his friend, Governor Jerry Brown, for that full pardon of Pete Pianesi. That was made much easier because in 1977, 40 years after, a guy by the name of Jimmy the Weasel Fratiani turned state's evidence, acknowledged that he was a hitman for the mob, and they had set up Pete. With that new evidence, the pardon was advanced. I was a young man learning that life story, and I also got to know Pete up into his dying days. And I also had the opportunity in that spirit to start thinking and to reflect on the death penalty. I've gotten a sense over a course of many, many years of the disparities in our criminal justice system. I've heard from experts that have laid claim to what I think is a fair assessment of our criminal justice system, that it's a lot better to be rich and guilty than poor and innocent. I lived through the super predator generation. 3 strikes and you're out. We were laying claim to having the largest death row in the Western Hemisphere. The largest death row in the United States of America, 2 times the size of the next largest state, Florida. I think we're better than this. I believe in justice. I believe that crimes are so heinous that people should spend the rest of their life in prison. I have deep empathy for victims of crimes, and I believe in justice. But I'll never forget a young girl I, on a weekly basis, spent time in schools in San Francisco, said, "What you're saying to us as adults, that it's not right to kill, yet that's exactly what you're doing." Look, we have 737 people on death row today. 120 people have died either of suicide or natural causes, including someone last week. Just 13 have been executed. And you, as taxpayers, you have spent $5 billion. $5 billion since we reinstated the death penalty in this state. What have we gotten for that? Since 1978 in this country, 164 people have been exonerated from death row, 5 now in California. What we're being tasked to do, and let me sum up, in California is to consider the following: to consider executing more people than any state in modern American history, to line up human beings every single day for execution for 2+ years. To line people up to be executed, premeditated, state-sponsored executions, 1 a week for over 14 years. That's a choice we can make, or we can make, I think, a more enlightened choice. to advance justice in a different way. There was a National Academy of Science report that came out that estimates 1 out of every 25 people on death row is innocent. If that's the case, that means if we move forward with executing 737 people in California, we will have executed roughly 30 people that are innocent. I don't know about you. I can't sign my name to that. I can't be party to that. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. There are innocent people on death row. There are guilty people on death row. And those people are not going to be let out by this act. They will be held to account. And with respect to everyone here, when I was standing on this side and I wasn't standing here, it was an intellectual conversation. It's a very emotional place that I stand in. And so I am expressing this not from paradigm of politics. It's not a situational conversation for me. This is about who I am as a human being. This is about what I can or cannot do. To me, this is the right thing to do.